one cable news show for 8 years and counting. The O'Reilly Factor.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. In the Factor Investigation segment tonight, I've been looking into a very troubling situation in Oakland, California. As you may know, 26-year-old Lovell Mixon shot and killed 4 police officers on March 21st. Those men left behind 3 widows and 10 children. Thousands attended their funeral services, but hundreds demonstrated in support of Mixon, and about 500 showed up at his funeral, prompting outrage around the world. So why did they support this Mixon guy? With us now, Fox News analyst Dr. Marc Lamont Hill, and from Chicago, James T. Harris, a radio talk show host on WTMJ in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Mr. Harris, you're new to the program, so we'll begin with you. What is the mindset of people who would go out of their way to march in the street to go to a funeral of a person who kills 4 police officers, 4 human beings, and rapes a woman? What's the mindset?
Bill, I think that it's a collective mindset that's been a problem with among Americans of African descent for the last 30 or 40 years. I believe that has to do partly with the breakdown of the family, the loss of religion being really a part of people's lives. But what we're really talking about here is a solidarity that was necessary 40 or 50 years ago, but it hasn't been necessary in the last 30 or 40 years. And I think that it used to be something that was helpful, but now it's something that is very, very destructive as it continues to perpetuate things that, I should say, the darker side of the culture.
All right, now we had the organizer of the protest on, and I said to him, don't you realize that 99% of America, all right, despises what you're doing, will never agree with you, do not respect you, you lose on every front, you're never going to persuade anybody, so what is the point? And, you know, he launched into an anti-American tirade, but, you know, I'm not getting the mindset of people that they're not going to persuade anybody that supporting a cop killer is a good thing, Mr. Harris. Don't they know that?
Well, I don't think that this individual shares this mindset. This organization is basically a socialist communist organization, and what they're doing are feeding on, they're preying on the mindset that really exists far too much in the African American culture.
So they're just playing to their own choir. Look, you're a teacher. You're a guy who came up the hard way, who knows the street. I'm trying to understand these people out there.
Well, as someone who grew up in those neighborhoods, I can tell you that a big issue in black and brown neighborhoods is the issue of police terrorism. What these people are responding to is not a celebration of a killer or a rapist. What they're talking about is a response to police terror. They want people to have a sense of indignation, not just around 4 police officers who die in awful tragedy, but also when black men die on the street at the hands of police officers.
But it's the wrong place. It's the wrong time. It's totally inappropriate, and it's not going to be read that way. As I said, they're not going to persuade anybody that they're in danger from the police or that they're an oppressed people. People are going to be so angry about their actions because it's a very specific action they're taking, but it's that we like this guy Mixon. We like him.
But see, and that's where I'm disagreeing with you. They're not saying we like him.
Yeah, they did.
No.
We have the sound.
No, there's a difference between recognizing someone's fundamental humanity and saying his life is worth just as much as those police officers. That he's.
But it isn't.
No, then that's where we disagree. I believe in
it isn't.
I believe in the fundamental value of all human life.
Look, the fundamental value of all human life is not in argument here. Okay, I'm a Christian and I believe
and that's what they're saying.
But when you rape a woman, all right, your life is not worth as much as the person who protects the woman.
Their protest is not about rape. This is not a protest in support of rape or murder. This is a protest in challenge of police terrorism.
No, but it's inappropriate to do it that way by rallying around a rapist and a murderer.
They're not rallying around the rapist. They're rallying at
use that man.
They're rallying at his funeral because you need these types of spectacles for America to pay attention. Every day, black and brown people die in the streets and no one notices anything.
Do you think
this is necessary.
One American persuaded or sympathizing with that group that isn't already in their club? Do you think one American is persuaded by that?
I think what you want to do is draw attention to the issues so that we can have dialogues like the one we're having.
No, they hate them more.
Bill, if they don't draw that spectacle, we're not having this conversation right now. I may be able to persuade
We have the conversation over the past 11 and a half years many, many times. Mr. Harris, I believe that these kinds of demonstrations in Oakland, California, and these people hurt their own cause by making Americans so angry at them that even if they have a legitimate point that Dr. Hill says they do, nobody's going to listen to that point. Do you agree with that?
First of all, yes, I do agree with that, and I disagree with Dr. Hill's premise. I don't believe that this protest was about police terrorism. There was a time in this country where that did exist, but I think that it's minimal. What we have here, we have generations of parents who are feeding their kids cups of sorrow that they continue to drink. Now we're looking for terrorism where none exists, and the real problem here is they're using this as an example to talk about something that we've already dealt with. The reality is that we are, as opposed to 40 years ago, Americans of African descent are free, but they're not embracing that freedom. They continue to look to the past. They look in the future. The future is their past, and it's counterproductive. And when people in the mainstream America sees it, they don't have any sympathy. What they have is anger, rage.
Right, let Dr. Hill have the last word.
Every year we see shootings of white officers to black bodies. This suggests that police terrorism is not something that's restricted to the recesses of history. This is about right now. Every year this happens. This is a response to this. This march, even if you disagree with it, was about police terrorism. If you look at the signs, if you talk to the protesters, and as you talk to the people on Friday, you'll know that they are responding to what they see as a repressive and oppressive police state. That's what they're challenging, and we need to respect that and listen.
All right, gentlemen, very interesting discussion. We appreciate it. In a moment,